Shiny Pokemon are the coolest and most rare variants of Pokemon. Some people go without ever finding a shiny in their lives playing Pokemon games. The rush you get from finding a shiny is unmatched. So before we get into the video, let's talk about the odds for shiny Pokemon in Legends Arceus. The base odds for a shiny is 1 in 4096, but if you complete a Pokemon's Dex entry, it jumps to 1 in 2048. But if you do a mass outbreak, those odds skyrocket to a whopping 1 in 158 or 1 in 152 for completed Dex entries. So let's get to it. This is Pokemon Legends Arceus, but I can only use shinies. I wake up floating in a dark void only to find Arceus, the god of Pokemon, trying to swipe my feet pics from my phone. Guess even divine beings have their quirks. Only to wake up on a beach with Professor Laventon peering right into my soul. He helps me to my feet and informs me that I fell from the sky, and me not knowing where I am, he tells me that I'm in the Hisui region. I pick up a random phone on the floor and it has a strange message on it telling me to seek out all Pokemon. And in the back of my head I'm like, sure, as long as they're shiny. The professor then asked me for my help in rounding up his escaped Pokemon, so I did. And after a quick walk through Jubilife Village, I meet Benny the chef, who immediately shuns me for being an outsider. Shortly after, I'm approached by this game's version of a rival, Akari, and as we're having a conversation, the captain of the Survey Corps, Silene, shows up and tells me if I want to be here, I must pull my own weight. I'm offered a place to sleep for the night because falling from the sky really takes it out of me, and with a good night's sleep, I'll be able to prove myself tomorrow to the captain. As I'm catching some Z's, a massive lightning bolt strikes a huge tree somewhere else in the region. I wake up in the morning and head to the Galaxy Hall to meet up with the professor and choose my temporary starter. Don't worry, the shiny hunting will begin very soon. Akari takes me to the Obsidian Fieldlands and shows me the ropes on how to catch wild Pokemon in the world, and tells me to catch 3 specific Pokemon before we head back to town. And unfortunately, these ones are shiny locked, I know, right? Having completed the task assigned to me, I was then told to head to the Galaxy Hall to meet with the leader of the Survey Corps, Commander Kamado. He then challenges me to a random wrestling match, and I didn't quite win. I return to the Obsidian Fieldlands with Akari, and she teaches me that I can craft items by gathering materials around the world. And at this point is where the first shiny hunt can begin, and oh boy, it was a long one. And poor past me had no idea the test of patience this was going to be. Alright. Time to find the shiny. Hopefully, doesn't take too long. This was the longest hunt in the run by far. This hunt took a little over 12 hours to find. And after running around the starter area and going back and forth, the town in here was mind-numbing. But luckily, I found a mass outbreak of Ponyta and this happened. Oh my god. Oh my god, finally, dude. I have been at this for so long. 12 hours, man. 12 hours to get my first shiny. With the first shiny team member secured, it was time to kick off the main story. Finally. And a good thing too, because I was starting to lose my mind by this point. Back in town, Akari invited me for a quick battle, and being able to progress the story at this point felt super good. And it was a surreal feeling seeing Hourglass the Ponyta. I head back out to the Obsidian Fieldlands to meet Mai. I am now told to deal with an Alpha Cricketune that is blocking the way for a camp to be established. Hourglass used one Flame Wheel for a quick KO and it was all over. I have a quick battle with Cleaver's Warden Liam and his Goomy. And this battle was closer than I like it to be, but I managed to scrape by with the win. And I'm finally able to unlock Weirder as a ride Pokemon, which will make shiny hunting new Pokemon a million times easier. And as I'm riding back to finally face Cleaver in battle, something insane happens. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god. Oh my god. No way, dude. No shot. I catch Gooby the Bidoof, and I guess the game was taking pity on me because out of nowhere, I find my second shiny not 45 minutes apart from getting the shiny Ponyta. Irida battles me before the Noble Cleaver fight, but Hourglass destroys her Glaceon with ease. These Noble fights are such a great addition and an awesome change up from the standard gym battles from the past titles. The Cleaver fight isn't too difficult to beat because all you really have to do is circle the big tree in the center, and 9 times out of 10, he'll run right into it, stunning himself for a few seconds. With the frenzied Pokemon quelled, it was now time to report back to the commander. After talking with Kamado and Silene, it was finally time to go to a new area, the Crimson Mirelands, where yet another frenzied noble resides. I finally arrived at the Crimson Mirelands to meet the Warden Caliba, and she tells me that a wall fragment was stolen by 3 bandits and I am to search for it and get it back. I track the bandits down and one of them challenges me to a battle. She sends out a Toxicroak, but after a few flame wheels from Hourglass, she was defeated and I was able to retrieve the stolen wall fragment. I return the missing wall fragment to Caliba and she deciphers a hidden message on the wall. She then takes me to Ursaluna where I battle it and defeat it to unlock it as the next ride Pokemon. I report back to Kamado only to find out that Arzu is missing and that I am to track her down using Ursaluna's abilities in the Mirelands. I quickly find her with an injured ankle sitting on the floor next to a basket of quelling bombs. I then make my way to the next frenzied noble Pokemon, Lilligant, and engage in a fight with her. The Lilligant fight is also straightforward in that all you have to do is have a little bit of patience and choose carefully when to strike. With yet another noble Pokemon taken care of, it was time to head back to town. Once again, I report to Kamado and he tells us to head to the Cobalt Coastlands to look into the situation there as well. Professor Leventon and I arrive at the coastlands in one piece, and this is where I decide that it's time to hunt for new shiny members of the team. This whole time was spent hunting mass outbreaks for just about anything I can find, when finally I spotted a Starly outbreak and found the next shiny team member, Ace. Yes, dude! Nice. We got our Starly, baby. Let's go, dude. I catch Ace the Starly and evolve it into a Staravia and decide to keep trying my luck for a new shiny Pokemon. After a few minutes of going back and forth from town, I then find a mass outbreak of Haunter and this happened. Oh my god. Oh yes, dude. I catch the newest shiny member of the team, Venom the Haunter, and decide it was time to continue the main story. I meet up with a man named Iscan and he tells me in order to call Basculegion I needed Dusclops to make some food for it. I successfully obtain a Dusclops and have it make some Basculegion food and head to the beach. Once at the beach, Iscan calls Basculegion and in doing so will give me the ability to use it as another ride Pokemon. When out of nowhere the Misfortune Bandits show up once again to cause more problems, only to have their Gengar steal one of the Growlithe from right in front of us and flee to the Volcano Island. Finally catching up with the bandits, I confront them and start an onslaught of back-to-back battles, but it was nothing I couldn't handle. I defeat Clover's Abomasnow with Gooby's Rock Smash, I take out Coin's Toxicroak with the Flame Wheel from Hourglass, and finally I take out Charm's Rhydon and Gengar with the Venom and Hourglass. Seemingly from out of nowhere, the smaller Growlithe evolves into an Arcanine, but moments later it is struck by lightning, enraging it. With the new enraged noble Pokemon, it was my duty to quell the frenzied Arcanine. This noble fight is one of the more difficult ones, but with well-timed roll dodges and precise bomb throws, I was able to calm the frenzied noble. With yet another noble calmed, it was once again time to report back to Kamado. After reporting to Kamado, he gives me another task to head to the Coronet Highlands and seek to quell the noble Pokemon Electrode. I arrive at the Coronet Highlands and meet up with Ingo, but Melee stops us in our tracks and challenges me to prove myself. After all the drama, Ingo escorts me through a dark and mysterious cave and asks me to have a battle to unlock Sneasler as the next ride Pokemon. I meet up with Melee at the entrance of the Noble's domain and commence the battle challenge that was issued earlier. With another quick battle out of the way, it was time to face off with another frenzied Pokemon. But like all other noble fights, it just takes a little bit of patience and timing. The main difference with this noble fight is it tries to trick you into attacking early, causing you to make mistakes. But the real strategy is to wait for Electrode to tire himself out and strike. With yet another frenzied noble Pokemon quelled, I return back to Jubilee Village to find Silene being terrorized by a Wurmple. With the Wurmple dealt with, Silene tells me about Alabaster Icelands, but before I can go, I have to achieve my 5th star rank. I head back out to the Cobalt Coastlands to fill out more entries of the dex to earn enough points for the 5th rank. With the 5th star acquired, I head to the Alabaster Icelands, but I figured that it was time for more shiny members of the team. After a few town resets, I find a Stantler mass outbreak and decide to try my luck with that. I head over to the outbreak and start clearing it out when this happens. Oh my god, yes dude, wow. That scared me. Alright, cool. 5th shiny in the bag. With Buck the Stantler acquired, I was feeling lucky, so I decided to keep hunting for another shiny. And luckily, it didn't take too long because I found an Elekid outbreak. Oh yes, dude. Awesome. That's the one I wanted. That's crazy cool, dude. Alright, let's catch him. With Megawatt the Elekid captured, I quickly evolve him into an Electabuzz, and without a doubt, this is one of the coolest shinies out there. I head back to the Alabaster Icelands to continue the story, and while riding to the objective, and to my surprise, this happens. No way. There is no way. What? Oh, no way, dude. With Gorignac the Bergmite captured, I meet Garrick, who challenges me to a battle, but it was easy with Hourglass. A warden named Sabi shows up after we were finished battling, but then she leads me on a wild goose chase all over the Alabaster Islands, and after tracking her down, we end up at Snow Point Temple. I make my way through Snow Point Temple, solving all of the Regidor puzzles along the way to reach the top. At last, I catch up with Sabi, but she then challenges me to a 3v1 battle. Luckily, there wasn't anything to worry about, and I was able to secure the win against her 3 Pokemon. Now outside, Braviary engages battle with me to earn its trust, but with the quick Thunder Punch from Megawatt, it was over. Now having earned Braviary's trust, I can now have it as a ride Pokemon, and with that, I now have access to every ride Pokemon in the game. Then I head to the final frenzied noble Pokemon, Avalugg, in an attempt to quell the massive beast. The Avalugg fight, in my opinion, is one of the more fun noble fights in the game, mainly because he feels like an actual boss, but he isn't too much to deal with. With all the noble Pokemon quelled, it was time to once again report my progress to the commander. I arrived at the Galaxy Hall to meet with Kamado to let him know my efforts were a success, but little did I know how wrong I was. After that, it was time to get some much needed rest. I wake up to someone banging on the door only to go and see the calamity that was taking place outside, and seeing this, the commander was not too happy, so he called for an emergency meeting. At the meeting, Kamado starts to interrogate me and believes that I have something to do with the catastrophe outside, and proceeds to banish me from the village. Banished out in the wilderness with nowhere to go, Volo approaches me and takes me to see someone named Kogita. I meet Kogita and she tells me about the 3 lake spirits and the red chain, and that it might be able to reverse whatever is happening in Hisui. Irida and Adamant show up telling me that only one of them can help me, so I choose Irida because Palkia is my favorite of the 2 legends. After that, I complete each of the lake spirit trials for Azelf, Uxie, and Mesprit and get the red chain forged. Once forged, I head back to the Coronet Highlands and make my way to the peak. As I'm making my way through the cave to the peak, Benny the chef stops me and challenges me to a tough battle. I lead with Venom against his Mismagius and use a strong style Shadow Ball to one-shot it. He sends out Gardevoir and it uses 2 super effective Psychics in a row, taking out Venom. I then sent out Hourglass to use a super effective Iron Tail, taking out Gardevoir. Benny sends out his Sneasler and Hourglass makes quick work of it with a high horsepower. Down to his final Pokemon Gallade, I decide to switch out Hourglass for Ace and take it out with the Brave Bird. I make it to the peak and find Kamado there, but then he challenges me to another stressful battle. I once again lead with Venom against his Braviary, but I was able to take it out with a strong style Shadow Ball. His Snorlax comes out and uses high horsepower, almost taking out my Venom, so I switch into Ace and take it out with a close combat. He then sends out Golem and it uses a devastating Rock Slide, taking out Ace. I then have Hourglass come out and use an Iron Tail, almost taking it out, but I had an extra turn, so I used high horsepower, defeating it. Kamado sends out his last Pokemon Clefable and it hits Hourglass with a very weak Psychic, but I was able to take it out with a couple of Flare Blitzes for the win. We then make our way into the temple where it starts to shake, and all of a sudden a rift opens up and Palkia emerges with a furious might. The red chain activates, weakening Palkia long enough for me to battle it and capture it. The battle starts as I lead with Venom, who strikes with a dazzling gleam, weakening Palkia, but Palkia retaliates fiercely, taking down Venom. Without missing a beat, I call in Ace and hurl an Ultra Ball, capturing Palkia. After the battle was over, another rift opened, revealing Dialga, the god of time. With the red chain used up, we decide to retreat and regroup to safety and try to come up with a plan on how to take Dialga down. After regrouping, the professor tells us about Origin Ore and that we need to gather some. On my search for Origin Ore, once again we are stopped by the Misfortune Bandits, and Charm then challenges me to one final battle with her. I send out Venom to her Rhydon and I use a strong style Shadow Ball, but it wasn't enough to take it down, and her Rhydon used 2 Bulldozes, taking Venom out. I have Ace come out and use a close combat defeating Rhydon. Her Gengar comes out only to be one-shot by Ace's Brave Bird, winning me the battle. With the Origin Ore in hand, we make our way back to the Galaxy Hall where the professor makes me the Origin Ball, the one tool needed to defeat Dialga. I make my way back to the top of Mount Cornet prepared and ready for the final showdown. Dialga then erupts with energy, sending out a blast wave, destroying the ruins we're standing in, but luckily Palkia was there to protect us from any danger. After the dust settled, it was time to face Dialga in a battle for the world and Hisui. Having defeated Dialga in battle, it was now time to throw the Origin Ball, sealing it away so that it can never cause any more destruction again. As the run comes to an end, I can't help but feel a bittersweet mix of emotions. I'm thrilled to have completed the challenge, yet there's a lingering feeling of nostalgia. The adventure has taught me that patience is key and that I can achieve anything I set my mind to. Pokemon has been a significant part of my life for so long, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to experience these incredible games. With that said, I'm Snorlad, and this was Pokemon Legends Arceus, but I can only use shinies. Oh, and before you go, I have something to show you.